From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
What's up, world? It's the one and only Pop DBICV Primetime Capper. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling great. And it is time for the premier sports betting show. And boy, it was a fun weekend this weekend. We had a lot of great games going on this weekend as well, too. We saw a great game last night with Steph Curry get his 50 points last night to get his team over the top. We'll talk about that a little bit more in a second. But let's go ahead and jump into the wrap up on the draft. The draft was pretty good, man. We had ourselves everybody got A's and B's except for the Lions on certain draft grades and everything. But like I said before, draft grades are absolutely irrelevant at the end of the day. They're really just something to kind of keep people just keep their eyes focused in on what's going on draft-wise and all that good stuff. But all in all, at the end of the day, it's not a determining factor of how that draft class is really going to play out. We won't know for another good 3 years what that draft class was going to be, really 5. You know what I mean? Because you got to always tell yourself, hey, some of these guys might have not have made it on this team that they got picked on, but they might make it on another team that they got picked up by. So, it's a lot of things that go into it. But I would say this, though. I would pretty much say that the winner of the draft was the Philadelphia Eagles because they're a team that lost some players and everybody thought that they were falling apart because they weren't, signing back key players to their team. But what they did was they went ahead and they drafted their replacements. They drafted guys that would be able to step in and be great depth for them moving forward. So the Eagles knew exactly what they were doing, and they went and got a lot of guys from the University of Georgia. We all know Georgia, back-to-back national champions, seen as one of the greatest defenses to ever step on the field in college football. And literally their whole starting lineup, as they predicted, is now in the NFL. And half of them play for the Philadelphia Eagles. So it just goes to show you that they really like these players. They like their attitudes. They like the championship mentality that they do come with. So a lot of things are working out in the favor for the Eagles moving forward because they are scouting the players that fit their team. A lot of people want to always feel like their draft spot and their draftee and their guy is the best guy that could possibly be a part of the draft and all that good stuff. But usually most times that's not the case. It's always a evaluation point, and it's always about fits and needs. And I think that the Eagles went ahead and got their fits and needs, and they got players that they don't have to rush right into a starting spot either as well. So there's a lot of things that worked out very well for the Eagles. And that's why I said that they might be the biggest winners in the draft because they're a team that really still is very talented even before they stepped into the draft. So them adding more depth of talent to talent, it just gives you the idea that this team is to rule the NFC for years to come. Maybe, because you got to always remember that injuries do play a part in every season, and we haven't got to the season yet. Now, real quick to the loser of the draft. There's really no losers in the draft because what you're doing is you're drafting potential. You know what I mean? And you're betting on potential. That's exactly what you're doing. So when you're betting on potential, you don't know what the outcome is going to be. It's you're shooting craps. You're hoping that you can get the 5-6, so you can go ahead and get the 11. But sometimes you might hit snake eyes, So all in all, there is no loser, but a team that failed to secure their quarterback, I guess, or secure a guy they felt can play quarterback for their team was the Titans. I felt like the Titans, they had to get that number 3 pick from the Cardinals. They had to get that number 3 pick from the Cardinals because they literally let their own division rival engineer a way for them to possibly be the best team in the division this year. I'm not going to say CJ Stroud is going to be a guy that gets you directly to the playoffs or anything like that, but they feel like he's one of those guys that can get you to the playoffs. And then you have a guy like Will Anderson, who was seen as the best pass rusher in the draft, well, the most complete pass rusher in the draft, and they go back to back, knowing that the Texans really wanted Anderson, and Stroud was really their gamble. I felt like Tennessee enabled them to make a historic move by not being able to secure that 3rd pick, because if Tennessee secures the 3rd pick, they probably pick Levis at 3. And then what happens is that somebody would have possibly moved up to get, because Anderson would have went 2. And then somebody would have possibly moved up to probably get Richards, would have moved up to get CJ Stroud. And Richardson literally was always going to be a Colt. That was the only team that was heavy on him, was the Colts. So all in all, I think that the Titans really lost because you're not supposed to let your division rival do that to you. You know what I mean? You're just not supposed to let that happen. So pretty much with that, I truly do feel that what's going on here is going to be a very tricky training camp. I think that a lot of people are going to be talking about, what could have, should have, would have, a lot. And I think a lot of people are going to be very happy with what they have. And some people are going to be very disappointed in what they have. Only time will tell. It's the NFL draft, and it was a beautiful weekend. And we'll see you in Detroit next year. That's all I can say. All right. So pretty much with that, we'll have more to talk about the draft and teams as we move along for the week and all that good stuff. So we move forward. Let's go ahead and jump into our next topic in hand, and that's going to be Steph drops 50 as the Warriors, to push the Warriors past the Kings in Game 7 on the road. Now, the Kings are a team that I picked to win this series. I was heavy on the Kings to win this series, but the whole world wanted to pick the Kings yesterday. So guess what? What happens when the whole world wants to pick the same team that I'm on all the time mostly is that they get mushed. And that's exactly what happened. But they got mushed because they couldn't handle the pressure. All right. Steph and crew came in there and they were ready. They were all business from the start. And pretty much there is a lot to figure out with the Kings moving forward. What do they do? Do they try to add another star? Do they try to add another piece somewhat through the draft? Or do they just say that, you know what, we learned a great lesson here in the playoffs against a team that we should have beat? Because the Warriors really weren't supposed to win this series. They were one of the worst road teams in the NBA. And when you look at it, the Kings had 2 home games, and they blew them both, okay? You don't have a 3-game series and you get 2 out of the 3 home games. You get 2 out of the 3 games at your house and you lose that series. You know what I mean? They lost both home games. It's that simple. And they did not take care of their business the way that they were supposed to take care of their business in the end. This team, I felt like, thought they won this series after they won the first 2 games. And you just couldn't do that with the Warriors. And I felt like they had already given them the series, but that was to motivate the Warriors because they never wanted the Kings to win this series in the first place. Now, Steph knew what time it was. Steph knew that if they slacked a minute and if they didn't get the best effort from Steph, they were going to get blown off the floor. And that's exactly what happened yesterday. Steph stepped it up. He got 50 points yesterday on 20 of 38 shooting. He hit 7 of 18 threes yesterday as well, too. He had 8 rebounds and 6 assists. But the key to the win yesterday, I don't care what anybody says, is Kevin Looney getting 11 points and 21 rebounds, 10 of those being on the offensive glass. So that was amazing in itself. And literally, he had 10 offensive rebounds yesterday. The Kings as a team had 14, so they only beat them by 4. And then he had great effort from Jordan Poole and Gary Payton Jr. Yeah, they didn't score a lot of points, but they kept the game alive. They were able to get themselves involved in the situation as well too, with critical plays. And you had Wiggins get 4 offensive rebounds on his own as well too. So this was something that you said to yourself, that the Warriors really took their team and said that it's make or break time for us. This isn't about us all getting together and scoring a bunch of points today. This is more about us getting into this game and winning this game by any means necessary. So that means that Steph, if he has to be the scoring man today, we're going to do everything possible to make sure that we help him win this game. And that's exactly what they did. They got a big effort from everybody involved. Draymond Green, he even had himself a good game yesterday as well too. 8 points, 6 rebounds, and 8 assists. That was critical in getting the win as well too, even though those are itty bitty things that you look at. But all in all, his presence was felt, and he made sure the defense was on point as well too. And they held this team to their lowest scoring output throughout the whole series. And it was just an absolute gem to watch when you saw a veteran team take over a game in the midpoint of the third quarter and not look back. That's just simply what it was yesterday. So much kudos to Steph Curry. Much kudos to the Golden State Warriors. They went ahead and handled their business. They did exactly what championship teams do. So there's nothing you can hate on. There's nothing you can get mad about. They did what championship teams are supposed to do. Now, Steph Curry being one of the best point guards of all time, that's still a very good question to ask. Am I going to get into that today? No, because I really don't care. Because everybody has somebody from their era. Everybody has somebody that they love. They're going to say that they're the best of all time because it's right now. You know what I mean? So that's what it is. So pretty much you're going to always love what you're seeing right now. And I think that this will be one of the more memorable Steph Curry performances of all time. And I just think that Steph is just keeps writing chapters of an already great book. The book's not done yet. So I don't know, why do we have to keep saying people are the greatest the greatest this, the greatest that, and da-da-da-da-da. And their book's not even done yet. And really, you can't put Curry in that high regard, because Curry has had some seasons where it was like, okay, you did good, but the team didn't do good. And the all-time greats never missed the playoffs, ever. Steph's missed the playoffs plenty of times. But in the last 10 years, he's been a regular there, and he's been a regular in the finals. Yes, the Warriors have had one of the greatest significant runs in a stretch. You know, a team that has not lost a true playoff series since 2014. There's just a lot of things that the Warriors have working out in their favor, but everything has a time that comes to an end. And the more and more you look at the Warriors, the more and more the end is coming. And I know a lot of people don't want to realize that right now, but it is what it is. So with that, we're going to go ahead and we're going to move on with our subjects in hand, and we're going to go ahead and talk about our next group, and that's going to be the state of the Lakers. And the Lakers, great win Friday night. They won by 40 burger, 125-85 over the Grizzlies. LeBron had himself a game, but we all know D'Angelo Russell was the man. He scored 31 points. That was absolutely tremendous. And he just led this Laker team the way that you would want the third guy to do. AD had himself a game again. AD was awesome. AD was able to get led the series in rebounds and literally is leading the whole playoff in rebounds as well too. He's getting double-figure rebounds each game. He was tremendous in that game. But LeBron, being LeBron, just being out there, being who he is, and playing the intimidating factor that he does from most of the teams that he's came across over the last 18 years or so since he's been going to the playoffs. You know, so LeBron had himself a very good full unit game where he was able to inspire this full unit to go ahead and close the door on these guys. They said, let's look at it like it's game 7, And that's exactly what happened. And we all know how LeBron gets in game sevens at home. So he pretty much stepped it up to the highest regard and got his team the absolute victory here Friday night. And you know what? At the end of the day, the Grizzlies could do all the chirping and all the talking that they wanted to. That was all to boost their confidence. That was to keep them motivated throughout this series because they knew that this was a heavy, heavy burden to win. This was a tough series for them to win. The moment that they drew the Lakers and the moment that they saw LeBron was all in, AD was all in, and now you got D'Angelo Russell finally all the way healthy, it was going to be issues. At the end of the day, if you really look at NBA records over the last few months, this spot really kind of flipped. The Lakers kind of went from being a 7 to a 2, just like you can kind of say that the Warriors went from being a 6 to a 3 once we start the playoffs. Even though their seeding is lower, they're not the natural 6 and 7 seeds. So this what makes the series so enticing. So pretty much, I don't want to go too far into it because the Lakers, we don't have much to talk about. I've told you guys exactly what the Lakers had to do, and they did it. I said the Lakers had to win every home game. They won every home game. The Lakers were going to have to play the best defense in this series. They played the best defense in this series. The Lakers did an incredible job. They only gave up 85 points here in the final game. The Lakers were averaging in certain quarters and they were averaging for halves, under 50, keeping teams under 50 points. The Lakers defense is just getting better. And I swear Friday night showed us all of that because the Lakers now get it. We center everything around AD on the defensive end. And then when we do this offensive thing, it will open up as we get it. And we're going to take the best open shots and we're going to try to get this ball to the rim so then we can get as many fouls as possible. So the Lakers are in a great state right now. They're really confident going into the series, and I look forward to talking about it more as we go into tomorrow's series as well, too. I'm going to fully break down exactly my thoughts on what's going to happen in Game 1, and I have my bets ready for you guys as well, too. So with that, let's move forward and get into our NBA Monday playoff preview, and we do have two really good games coming up tonight. We got the Eastern Conference opener tonight with the 76ers and the Celtics, both teams coming out of some pretty good playoff series. 76ers got a sweep, so they got the most rest out of anybody in the NBA. The Celtics wanted to get the series over in 5, but they wound up losing Game 5, so they had to close it out in 6. So they got a good gut check win in Game 6. So that's maybe what they might have needed before going into this series. It looks like Embiid's going to be missing tonight. The spread's pretty much telling you that as well, too. But I don't think that should play a big factor in the 76ers actually showing up for this game. But the Celtics have their number. And I just feel like the Celtics just know if they don't have Embiid, they can really beat on them. But I know that they're not going to go in there with the idea that they can automatically beat on them with no Embiid. So I truly do feel that we're going to get some big efforts from Tatum and Brown tonight to just go ahead and solidify themselves into this series and make a statement from Game 1 that the Celtics are ready to return to the top of the Eastern Conference and represent the Eastern Conference for the right to get another NBA championship. They feel a little shysted from last year. Let's keep it real. They're feeling a little shysted from last year. So I truly do think in tonight's game, a lot of people might get a little excited and say to themselves, you know what, I like Philly without Embiid. They'll probably catch the Celtics slipping. That's how I usually think going into a game like this. But it started out as a 10.5, then it dropped to a 9.5. 9.5 tells me the perfect number. It really does. It really does. And 9.5 is just as good as, say, a 5.5, a 6.5 in a football game, in my opinion. And I think because you know that this team is going to win the game tonight, because I really do truly feel the Celtics won't have an issue winning the game tonight. Tell yourself, will they score by 2 touchdowns or less than 2 touchdowns? And in this game tonight, I say that they're going to score by more. They're going to win by more than 2 touchdowns. I think that the Celtics want to send a message. They want to make sure that after their last home game where they lost, that there is there is no chance of the opposition winning. That was a bad loss. You know what I mean? Because they were supposed to finish that series in Boston. It took a little bit longer than it needed to. And to get the Boston fans a little into a better mood after what happened to the Boston Bruins, they definitely are going to step up their game tonight for the Beantown. So I like the Celtics tonight with the 9.5. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out. We go from there. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into our next game, which is going to be the Nuggets and the Suns. The Suns coming into this game already trailing in the series 0-1. Nuggets 1-0. Great win Saturday night. They were able to win that game, I think, by 20-some-odd points. Tonight, they come up into this one with the idea that we need to start off 2-0 because you don't know what's going to happen when you get to Phoenix. Things get a little different when you go play in the desert, especially with their brand new star, KD, there. I think tonight, though, the Suns will have a little bit more tonight for the Nuggets. When you look at Saturday, they beat them by 18. I'm looking at it now, 125-107. And when you see the game, you say, okay, well, you had Phoenix lead in the first. They won the first and third quarters. They just had a really bad second quarter that really put the game out of reach. So they really can go ahead and get this one back because they made just a few mistakes, and that really is what hindered the game. Now, Durant and Booker got 56 in total together, 29-27. Ayton dropped 14, but he only had 7 rebounds. Ayton's going to have to clean it up on the rebounding end because Durant got 14 rebounds in this game. I say this, Durant took about 4 rebounds away from Ayton because Ayton's probably not going as hard as he should be. So Durant in 36 minutes was able to do all that. So I feel like Ayton's going to have to do a lot more tonight, and I feel like he can do a lot more tonight. And I think that he's going to have to get a little physical with Jokic. I know that they'll either call it or they'll not call it, but try to get a little physical with him because the guy had 19 rebounds last game. They got to cut that down big time tonight. And he had 8 offensive rebounds as well, too. And 5 assists. And, Jokic is an absolute killer, and you got to keep him in check. Now, Jamal Murray is returning to Jamal Murray form. He had 34 points in that game. So, Phoenix is going to have to tighten up their defense, and they're going to have to get a little bit more from their bench as well, too. So we're going to see how it goes. We're going to see how it shakes out. But I do like the Suns tonight to win this game as a plus 150 money line. So I have more bets for the game as well, too. So you guys stay tuned. And for now, we're going to go ahead and take a quick break. And when I come back, we're going to go ahead and jump into our actual baseball plays for today. We got Blue Crew Daily, and then I got the MLB Monday Night for you, and then we got Talkin Tickets. So you guys stay tuned. This is the Premier Sports Betting Show, the PrimeTime Angles with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the PrimeTime Captain.
Good News Only Racing Club, led by the legendary Doug O'Neill, the trainer of 2 Kentucky Derby winners, and I'll have another in Nyquist. Also trained 2-time Breeders' Cup champ Golden Sense, who are just a part of a long list of thoroughbred champions trained by Doug O'Neill. The Good News Only Racing Club has a young core of horses to look out for in Dennis's Celery, Irish Heatwave, and Notre Dame, just to name a few. Win the day every day with the Good News Only Racing Club, a proud sponsor of the NFL Bet Exchange.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
Tune into Big Wave Boxing every week with a brand new guest with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Captain, getting the best boxing stories, best boxing angles, and the truth when it all comes down to the sweet science. Tune in to Big Wave Boxing on the Prime Wave Media channel on YouTube.
All right, world, here we are. We are back with the premier sports betting show, the PrimeTime Angles, with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the PrimeTime Capper. So let's go ahead and jump into Blue Crew Daily. Blue Crew Daily. The Dodgers sweep the old rivals, the Cardinals, over the weekend to complete the first series sweep this season. Start 3-game set versus the Phillies today. It should be a lot of fun. We got Taijuan Walker on the mound going against Gosselin. And all right, well, all right, just real quick, because I'm now in baseball. I was pretty much done with basketball, but it doesn't really matter. Draymond doesn't own the NBA, and Draymond doesn't own like the respect committee at all either. You know, there's a lot of guys that he doesn't respect, but there's a lot of guys that don't respect him. So at the end of the day, it's just the NBA, and it's just attention, and it's just what guys want to do. I think that he doesn't respect Sabonis is because Sabonis doesn't shake his hand every time he cooks his ass with the double-double. You know what I mean? I don't think that Sabonis cares to be his friend. And I think that's what's wrong with a lot of NBA guys. They don't respect you if you don't kiss up to them. If you won't back down to them. And I don't think that Sabonis is in any place to back down from him. So that's pretty much my answer to that question, boss. All right, so back to the topic at hand. And the Dodgers had their best weekend at home, I think, all season, where they just literally went ahead and absolutely dominated the team. Even though they only won one of those games, 1-0, it didn't matter. The Dodgers did exactly what you have expected them to do for the last month. The Dodgers hadn't swept anybody, and they finally were able to sweep somebody, and I think that was the absolute thing that the Dodgers needed to build some more confidence, because the Dodgers' confidence seemed like it was not there at this point this year. It seemed like it was coming along a little slowly, but now we're here. The Dodgers have figured out who they are. They're trying to be, they're trying to get back to that level. The Dodgers are looking pretty good because they are now right where they want to be. They're right behind the Arizona Diamondbacks still, because the Diamondbacks do own the season series right now. As crazy as it sounds, because they are 5-3. They actually have a 5-3 record over the Dodgers this year. So the Dodgers have returned back to the top of the West, but the tiebreakers owned by the Diamondbacks, but they're ahead of the Padres and the Giants. That's all that matters. So the Dodgers, great weekend this weekend, but they have a tough 3-game series coming up this week because the Phillies are no slouch. Let's keep it real. Taijuan Walker, a high-end guy that they paid to come over from the Mets. This is a very, very tricky spot tonight, even though his ERA is 4.97. That doesn't really matter because Taijuan Walker still always has a very, very good Taijuan always has a very good game against the Dodgers. Now, Tony Gosselin is still on the way back. You know what I mean? He did okay against the Pirates, but he walked 3, only struck out 1, gave up 2 hits. They were just kind of keeping him on a pitch count in that game. So this one, he should be a little bit more they should be giving him a little bit more leeway to cook a little bit in this spot. But I think he might struggle a little bit. We're back at home. It's a little rainy today. It's going to be real cold tonight at the stadium as well, too. For California standards, it's cold. But I think that this game really works out better for Philly. And with the Dodgers coming in here on a straight 3-game sweep off the top, I don't know if they keep their winning streak going, even though Philadelphia is not one of the better teams right now. But Philadelphia does need to bounce back somewhat, and they need to use a series like this one to get back into shape. They're 15-14 themselves, and they've just worked themselves back into the mix somewhat. So, tomorrow they got Stram going against Uris, and then we got Wednesday with Noya going against the rookie Gavin Stone. So that should be a lot of fun with Gavin Stone on the mound going against the vet Aaron Noya. So we got ourselves a pretty good week. So the Dodgers have a series that's going to be a little bit tough because when it comes down to the pitching portion of it, the Dodgers probably when you look at it, the Dodgers probably only have one day where they have the better pitcher, in my opinion, and that's going to be tomorrow. Today, Gosselin, you would say, when you look at what happened last year, he's the better pitcher between him and Walker. But Gosselin is in his second start. Walker is a guy that's been pitching all season. So it's levels to this. So I feel like Walker might be a little bit more effective today. I hate to say it, but my actual dog of the day today is going to be the Phillies. I feel bad about it, but I just think the Dodgers are going to fall short today. I don't know why, but I just feel like they will fall short today. And it's okay. I love the Dodgers, but I can fade them when I need to, though. And if I feel like they're not going to win this on that day, they usually don't. So, let's move forward. Let's go ahead and jump into our MLB Monday night. MLB Monday night, we got ourselves a lot of really good we got a lot of good games going on tonight. We got one going on right now. The Braves are absolutely, well, last time I checked, let me double check because you know how games be. Braves were up 6-1 at one point. Now they're only up 6-4. So it looks like we got ourselves a game going on in Queens today. But Pete Alonso just hit a nice 3-run shot in the third inning to make that game be a little bit closer. Ronald Acuna is also homer today as well, too. Kevin Pillar homer today, and Sean Murphy homer today as well, too. He hit a 3-run shot in the first inning. So you got yourself a good game going between the top of the NL West. So, yeah, Bryce Harper coming back. It's going to be a while, though, before things are really effective for Brycey boy. But let's go ahead and jump into our first game that I have here, which is going to be the Nats and the Cubbies. And the Nats coming here, and shout out to the Nats yesterday. They were our client bet dog of the day. I had them with the plus 120. My boy Josiah Gray went out there and absolutely mowed him down yesterday. He had a hell of a game yesterday, pitching some shutout innings as well, too. And they had to wait a few hours because the game was delayed as well. Now, Mackenzie Gore, the other big-time Studley prospect from the Padres, who was a part of the trade that the Padres were able to yield Josh Bell and Soto in, Mackenzie Gore was a highly coveted pitcher for the Padres for a few years. Now he's actually came in here to Washington start his real big league career, and he's done well. 35 strikeouts over 16 walks. He also had 10 strikeouts in his last game as well, too, and that was against the Mets, a very good lineup, and only gave up 1 run. And literally, he's been so good, so consistent, and he's averaging 6 strikeouts a game as well. He's getting at least 6 strikeouts or better a game. So these are good stats to look at in a high strikeout club like the Chicago Cubs. This really speaks volumes. But they got Drew Smyly on the mound today. Smyly has been really good, was really good. Even in his last outing, even though he only went 5 innings, he struck out 4, gave up 2 runs. He still was pretty good. But before that, when he pitched the Dodgers at the stadium, he actually, when he pitched against the Dodgers at Wrigley, he actually struck out 10 and only gave up 1 hit over a 7 2/3 inning. So this guy has been probably the most consistent pitcher with this team all season, except for the first game against Cincinnati where he gave up 6 runs. But other than that, he hasn't given up more than 2 runs since that point. And all in all, in those 4 starts, he's only given up 4 runs in those starts as well, too. And one of them, he didn't even give up a run. So pretty much this is when you look at a straight up pitcher's duel. But I think that the Nationals will keep this one close, and that's why I have the Nationals actually covering this one at plus 1.5. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out. We move forward from there. All right, so we move forward. Let's go ahead and jump into our next, which is going to be the Guardians and the Yankees. And we all know that Cleveland and New York has always been a great rivalry in baseball. Shit, just in sports in general. So you have tonight You got Quantrill going against you have Cantrell going against Domingo Germain tonight. Domingo Germain is pretty good. 5.54 ERA, 2-2 wins and losses. The strikeout is going to be 33 over. He has 33 strikeouts over 9 walks. Quantrill is 15 strikeouts and 8 walks for him this season. So, we have ourselves a very good game tonight. I think that this one comes down to who really wants it more. And the Yankees, from what I'm seeing, the Yankees have lost 3 in a row. They went on the road. They got a good win to open up the series against the Rangers. Then they wind up losing 3 in a row and only scored 4 runs and were outscored by 20. They scored 4 runs and gave up 22 after winning 4-2 to start the series off. So the Yankees offense without Judge is looking a little suspect. So, going against Cleveland today, a team that struggled yesterday against Boston, they're not going to struggle today. But they have lost their last 2 in a row and their last 3 out of 5 to be exact. So this team really does need to buckle down a bit because they're starting to starting to be like, all right, here we go again. They're going to need to have a nice big June or July to get back into this thing. Because they go into May with the losing record, they're considered the favorite to win the division. So, the Guardians got to start picking it up right now. The Yankees got to pick it up as well, too. Because the Blue Jays are not going to stop winning. And the Rays are they're front running right now. They're literally ahead of the pack right now. We don't know when anybody's catching up with the Rays, okay? Because the Rays are absolutely cooking. And then you got the Baltimore Orioles thinking that, hey, don't forget about us either. And then the Red Sox are always going to feel like they got some type of opportunity. So the Yankees know they can't fall far behind. And tonight's game, to me, is a good one to start your month off with a win. I like the Yankees to actually win this game tonight. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out. We move forward from there. All right, so let's go ahead, jump into our next, to our final game. And that's going to be this one. It's going to actually be the Giants and the Astros, 11-16. Astros are 15-13, over under 8.5. So pretty much here we are, and we have ourselves a pretty good game tonight. I don't want to be too long with this one. You have a struggling Astros team. Yeah, they're struggling. They should be a lot better than 15-13. The Giants are absolutely putrid, but they are always a team that seems to, ruffle some feathers in the first game of the series or something like that. But tonight, I'm not worried about any of that. Stripling's on the mound for the Giants, and then you have for the Astros, you have Luis Garcia. Both these guys' ERAs are nothing to write home about, but Garcia's been really good in his last 2 games, 16 strikeouts over 3 walks, no runs, and only 5 hits. And this was against Toronto and Tampa Bay. So that gives you a lot of confidence of who the Astros have on the mound. Now, Ross Stripling did decent against the Mets, but he only struck out 1. But he did pitch some shutout innings against the Marlins in the game before. So pretty much with that, I would say that this should be a very, very fun game tonight. But I expect the pitchers to pitch tonight, to be honest with you. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to actually call for this one to be – this one's actually a game that I do have for my clients tonight. This is not going to be a game that's actually going to even be a part of our group. But I did want to talk about it a little bit because I just wanted to make sure that you guys knew that, this is one of the better games tonight. And if anything, you guys should be you shouldn't be surprised if the Giants make this a closer game than what it really is. But it's not even about us taking a winner tonight. It's all about the scoreboard tonight. So if you do want to jump on that play, hit me up and you guys can become an exclusive client today and I'll get you situated with that. All right. So pretty much with that, we're going to go ahead and take our final break of the show. And when I get back, we're going to go ahead and go get into talking tickets. So you guys stay tuned. This is the Premier Sports Betting Show, the Primetime Angles with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Kappa.
Now you and your friends can compete in the sport of kings and win big with Stable Duel. Get the app, pick your horses, and get in on the thrill of horse racing with daily games competing against other players. Bring home the glory and the cash and move up the annual leaderboard while you leave your competition in the dust. Get in the game with Stable Duel. Play, race, win.
Good News Only Racing Club, led by the legendary Doug O'Neill, the trainer of 2 Kentucky Derby winners, and I'll have another in Nyquist. Also trained 2-time Breeders' Cup champ Golden Sense, who are just a part of a long list of thoroughbred champions trained by Doug O'Neill. The Good News Only Racing Club has a young core of horses to look out for in Dennis's Celery, Irish Heatwave, and Notre Dame, just to name a few. Win the day every day with the Good News Only Racing Club, a proud sponsor of the NFL Bet Exchange.
All right, let's go ahead and jump into talking tickets, and let's talk those tickets. Now, talking tickets, what do we have going on tonight? What do we have going on tonight? All right, so talking tickets, here we are. First, the MLB Super High 5 tonight. I got the Nats with the plus 1.5. As I said before, I got the Yankees with the minus 135 tonight. We got the under 10 with the Blue Jays and the Red Sox. Then we got the over 8.5 with the Reds and the Padres tonight. Then we wrap it up with the Phillies plus 140 on the money line tonight. Let's see how it goes. Let's see how it checks out. We move forward from there. All right. We have ourselves the 76ers and Celtics game 1 bets. I'm going with the Celtics tonight to win this game by 10 or better. As I said earlier in the show, I think that we should be on a good little pace here to get that victory. And then I got the over 110 in the first half as well too. And then I'll go ahead and throw in the plus 3 on the 76ers first quarter. I'm just going to say that they're going to keep things close in the first quarter, and then this game will get out of hand when the Celtics make one of those classic Celtic runs. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it checks out. We move forward from there. All right, and then we have ourselves the Suns and the Nuggets game 2 bets tonight. I got this series being evened up tonight. You know, it's not going to be an easy ride for the very good Nuggets team. Nuggets are a very good team, but you can't just go ahead and discount the fact that the Suns still have the best player in the series in Kevin Durant. So they're not going to get off the hook that easily. You have to remember the Suns are the same team that absolutely crushed the Nuggets not too long ago in the playoffs. So you got to make sure that you keep things in. I think they crushed them 2 years in a row, to be exact. So, you know, this team is really still has their number in a sense. So the Nuggets got to take this one game at a time. They got the first win of the series for their confidence, but tonight is going to be a lot of pressure on them. I think that the Suns go ahead and show up, and they show up in big fashion and get us a nice win here tonight with the plus 150. Then I got the Suns covering it the first half. So if the game's tied, we'll have the Suns here for the first half plus 2. If they're up, then we're up. If they're down 1, then we cash a ticket. If they're down 3, then we have to go ahead and rip up the ticket. So there it is. Then we have the under 56 first quarter game 2 bets, and that's where we're going to go from there. All right, so that's going to be that right there with the talking tickets. And pretty much with that, we have this. And I thank you guys very much, so much for tuning into the show today. You guys are the absolute best. And as I always say, bet with your head, not with your heart. The movement is moving. And this is the Premier Sports Betting Show, the Primetime Angles with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Kappa, and I'll be right back at you tomorrow at noon. So you guys make sure to tune in for that, and I look forward to speaking to you again. You guys already know. Let's go ahead and win the day and get this money, baby.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.